say hello to everybody. Welcome to yet another TS Masterclass live event. This is for everyone to watch and all of my students on the various offerings that we have. Any of the students that have taken any of the courses, I invite everyone back once a month to join me in this live session so we can kind of do a live conversation, Q&A, sometimes even critiques and things like that. So this should be fun. So let's see who we have today. Let me get my Zoom thing all good. We have, yes, okay, Tyler, Greg, Chris, Ken, Mike, Catherine, and Adrian. Welcome, welcome. Let me just resize this for our broadcast. Sometimes let me get our windows set up here. That looks good. Oh, technology, you gotta love it and hate it. All right, great. So yeah, we were talking about what games we're playing now. So Days Gone, that's what you're replaying on PlayStation 5. Tyler, anyone else? Any other games?
I play Call of Duty almost every day.
Which one? Aren't there like 26 of them?
Vanguard.
Okay.
And Warzone. Yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Started playing a classic Mech Warrior 5 that just came out a couple years ago, but it's been like 20 years since they did the new version of that.
Mech
Warrior?
Warrior?
Play like BattleTech kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Giant robots.
I used to love those. Were like, that was amazing back in the day, like the early 90s. Yeah. I just remember like the Mech Warrior stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so that's been kind of a fun nostalgic thing playing that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've been playing on the Quest. I got the Quest 2 for Christmas, and man, I've been playing this game called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Demeo or something like that. Demeo. It's like anyone who's like into fantasy board games kind of thing where it comes to life, almost like Battle Chess, but you're looking at the board, but like Minority Report, you can kind of zoom in, shrink it down, and you can move your little characters around this board, and you have to get through these dungeons, and you roll like the dice to see how many, if you get a double hit or a single hit, and you get these cards, and it's, I don't know, it's just captivating. I figured that you can actually play a quest on a plane. The only problem is if there's any turbulence and the plane's going up and down or left or right, your playing board actually, the thing's tracking the plane's movements. So it's really, and it has to retrack, so it's really amazing. I guess the gyroscope in there actually knows, like if the plane tilts like a little bit and you don't even notice it, the game notices it. So I'm like, actually it helped with my motion sickness, because it actually shows you what's happening to the plane even though you can't detect it or see it. Problem is, it's hard to play a game like that because then your board just goes like 20 feet above your head. You're like, but it does kind of work on a smooth flight. Anyway, so now so today what we're going to do is we're doing a little mishmash. We do Q&A, we do some critiquing, we'll do some whatever you guys kind of want to talk about. So first, let me throw it out to you guys. What are you struggling with? Are there any things that right now that you're struggling with in the music world that you want to kind of throw out as a discussion piece or as a question? Keep that in mind. At any point you can ask it now. Chris, you do. So
it kind of tallies in with the demo that I sent. It's something that's an ongoing issue that I have. And that's that I keep getting these ideas for pieces of music that I think, that's going to sound good.
Right.
But I don't have access to the sounds to do it. So, for example, the piece I sent, I really wanted to write something that started with the Ladysmith Black Mambazo singing. I'm like, well, there isn't a library for that.
Right.
So that's the constant issue that I run into.
Right. And that's a frustration that we all share, particularly when what we do is dependent on technology and sounds that are in synthesizers or sample libraries or things like that, or you don't know where they are. How do I get that sound? How do I get that? And that's a constant, it can be a constant frustration, a challenge, but also a growth piece, that as we progress, you come across that certain treasure, like here it is, or this is it, or this is, and it's a journey. I remember starting with the Roland. I started with my Mirage back in 1986, and have my floppy disks, my 1 megabyte floppy disks, and now my library is over 4 terabytes and stuff like that. And you would think I'd be in heaven, but sometimes it's too paralyzing to have too much. So look, the thing is, it's frustrating, but as I always like to say, is whenever you're doing virtual stuff or stuff that requires sounds that are not acoustically created that you can do yourself, you have to play to the strength of your samples. You have to make compromises. In this day and age, as a professional, it's more important to have something that sounds and is delivered that sounds really good, rather than, I know this sample sucks, but if I had the right one, it would be awesome. That doesn't really work for obvious reasons. So it's frustrating, but it's also an opportunity to search it out. Believe it or not, I've found things by Googling them, like looking for carousel samples, like there's literally a library out there that was, I think it was free, where they sampled just a carousel with all the and I had another thing that was sort of like it, so I combined them and I used it. I'm like, this is great. Even if it wasn't free, I'm like, I had no idea that existed. And to this day and age, there are like libraries. I'm not, people say, oh, I ask people, what did you use for this? They're like, oh, from this company. You ever hear of them? I'm like, no. I'm like, so it's endless. It's endless. So just, search and ye will find. Eventually. All right. Any other challenges out there that we want to discuss up front? Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, more business-minded. I'm kind of in the process of trying to, I don't want to say the term rebrand, but kind of restructure and be a little bit more intelligent about how I use, my social media. I'm thinking about kind of redesigning all this clutter back here and kind of make it a little more professional.
Yeah.
And I was just curious as to, with where you stand in the industry and where you may see where it's going, how would you recommend someone who's just barely getting started, trying to get a foot in the door, how to navigate the business kind of side of things in regards to social media and image and everything?
Oh, God. Wow. Okay. So let me make sure I get the entirety of your question right. So your challenge is you're starting out as what would you call yourself? What's your goal?
Composing.
Okay, so you're starting out as a composer, and you want to know how to maximize your presence on the internet. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I think it's most important. The presence on the internet is part of your portfolio. It's not everything. It's part of it. The most important part of any portfolio, in my personal opinion, is your reputation, is the word of mouth, not your internet presence. I didn't say the internet presence is not important, and it certainly is. Depending on where you are in your career, it can be more or less important. There are some legendary musicians out there that don't have any presence on the internet. That could be for various reasons. One, they don't care. They don't need to. They don't understand it. Or, that's not their thing. So first and foremost, prioritize. You can have the best website in the world, but if you have no good music to show, who cares? Right?
Right.
So focus on your content and focus on your reputation. As far as a website and social media presence, let's just deal with the website. What is a website now? The website is the modern day business card, right?
Right.
That's the way I see it. It's a place that if someone is interested, they see if you're legit, to see what you got, they'll go there. I'm a big fan of creating an instant impression. People make a judgment instantly in this world, especially nowadays. Everything's like immediate gratification and instant. But human beings are wired to get an instant impression of somebody. When I meet you face to face, within 5 seconds, I've determined whether I like you or not, what kind of person you are. It's just the way the human brain is wired. So instant impression is important when you do a website. So how does that translate to a website? Well, on a web page, the less clicks, the better. That's why I think the one-page websites are increasing in popularity now, because everything's in one place. People don't spend a lot of time clicking and digging around. So the more that you can put on that first impression, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I look like, this is my background, this is my credits, this is my best. You got to just be like, hey, this is me, okay? And that will change depending on where you are in your career, right? That will change.
Yeah, of course.
When you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of credits, so you have to focus on the quality of your content and the ease of allowing people to find what it is they want. People ask me all the time, how do I arrange my music on my website? Or how do I arrange music for clients? Well, people, your website is for potential clients and it's for fans or just curiosity seekers. But you need to prioritize, I think, the clients. And so you want to make it as easy as possible for them to find what they want to find. You don't want to just dump everything in one big bucket and have them dig through it. So if you are good at battle music, or you're good at fantasy, or you're good at, action-y, some people say you can divide music into kind of lean forward music and lean back music, and you might want to decide on how to just bucket those things together, where you have, let's say, 2 lists or 3 lists, and you basically just put your stuff in there, your best stuff, so that within a minute, if I'm looking for something and you have it, I can find it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And as far as social media, I'm no social media expert, but what I do know is consistency is important. Okay, but don't get caught up in it, in my opinion, unless you want to just start monetizing your social media. And if that's the case, you got to post every day and do a million things, and that's your side job. But if you're just interested in getting the word out, then post updates when you have them. If you're interested in building an audience, well, then you got to post a lot and have conversations with people. How important is that? I don't think it's that important when it comes to getting work.
Right. Okay.
People might disagree with me.
Interesting.
They're all tools that work together, but you have to prioritize what is important, what you need to do. And I think it just starting out, you want to focus on your relationships, who your network, how you want to focus on developing a positive reputation, and the content and quality of your work. Put the best stuff forward, And if you don't have anything to show really that you're proud of or that's strong, then don't post anything yet. Things take time, one step at a time. All right.
Yeah.
And
I
also,
appreciate that.
yeah, sure. And also, always look at other people's websites who are in line with what you do and who you admire, and maybe learn some things from them too. All right.
Can do. Thank you.
Excellent. My pleasure, of course. Any other questions or challenges that we dig into before we start listening to some submissions? No, I don't see any other hands. All right, good. Why don't we switch gears and listen to some submissions from some of the students? All right, so first up we have Catherine. Catherine, are you okay with me playing something of yours here publicly?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. What are we going to hear, and what would you like me to focus on?
It's a quick little thing I just did called Circle of Time, and it's supposed to be kind of like, this is just a fantasy, like you're traveling through time,
Mm-hmm.
like you're getting into a machine that's going to travel you through time. So I did a little experiment with well, not an experiment. I tried to write something in 5/4 because normally I don't,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went out of my normal, I guess, composing box,
Yep.
and then I think. As far as the mix goes, I mean, if you listen to it, it's disconcerting. I guess that's how I feel about it. But I kind of like that because the way time moves, it's disconcerting.
Okay.
But also in the mix itself, I just wanted some. I was having an issue with. There's a lot of low end, and I'm not sure that a lot of it's defined. So,
Okay. All right.
That I don't know how to work that. So.
Understood. Okay, so you're focusing more on a mixed production feedback kind of thing. And all right, let's take a listen. If I have other questions, I'll let you know. Let's do it. Oops, sorry. Oh, cool. Okay, so this is short. This is like the beginnings of something.
Exactly. It's very short.
Got it. All right, good. I'm going to play that one more time since it is so short. Listen for everyone else. Notice the little the church bell in there. You know, I guess that's a little reference to some kind of time. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the mix is disconcerting. I'd say the arrangement is, and the music itself. There's definitely some kind of almost dizzying dissonance to it. But we'll take another listen. Yeah, I mean, it's cool, and I know you like the rock stuff, which is good. You have to play to your strengths, so good for you. I'm glad you're doing that. I think it's a good start. Keep in mind, for example, if I were to be working on this, you know, with you, and I'm like, okay, well, this has got to be, you know, this has got to work for a theme or whatever it is. Got to think about that hook. Got to think about whatever melody. So that's a backing track for me. Do 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 do. You can repeat that again and put some kind of lead. You know, whatever it is, like those memorable 5 to 5 notes that that you can remember. You can sing back. It's not always. I know some people out there, well, you don't need to always have something that's singable and hummable. You're right. But there should be something that's hooky and identifiable that you can kind of describe in some way. That's always going to win over, or most always is a dangerous word. I'd say 99% of the time, something that you can kind of remember that's distinct, that you can kind of communicate back in some way to somebody to describe it, that's what's going to be hooky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I like the start of it. You know, things in that nature, always try to focus on what can I do to make it unique.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because that's really the biggest challenge. There's a lot of music out there. What is it about this that makes it unique? That's always a important aspect, I think, to do. So good start. Good start. I think you hit the points that you wanted. I don't have really, you know, any blaring problems with the mix or the production at this point. I think it's an early idea. You should just keep going with it, and you know, just at this point it's too early. Just keep going with it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right.
It makes sense.
Excellent. Cool.
All right.
All righty then. How about we go with Tyler? What do you got for us, Tyler?
So this is kind of like there's It's short as well, not that short, but it is fairly short as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really just there's two parts to it. The first half I would say is kind of like a tension underscore. I was kind of playing around with trying to create like a good underscore kind of backing piece that develops tension.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half of it's going to go into what I was trying to work on writing loops that are effective.
Mm-hmm.
So so this one I was kind of in a really big like Akira Yamaoka type funk for a little bit there.
Okay.
So like the synthy kind of part to the loop that comes in the second half is super inspired by him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried to work my kind of flavor into it as the loop progresses. So
Mhm.
it's kind of 2 in 1 smashed together as like a tension underscore thriller horror type feel.
Got it. Cool. That sounds intriguing. Let's give it a listen. What do you want me to focus on mainly, if anything, in particular?
So I think like two things. Like one, how effective it is in establishing like that feeling of tension or dissonance,
Mhm.
and then two, is the loop effective?
Is the loop effective?
Correct.
And by loop, you mean the file itself, the overall file?
No, like when you hear it come in on the second half, it's it's pretty deliberate. It's kind of like a hard right turn. So like from that point on, like does that work as a loop? Should it be developed more? Was it structured well?
Got it.
That
Okay. Let's do it. Can you all hear that? It's soft. It's soft. Might want to increase the volume of that first part in relation to this. A little too soft. Too much dynamic range. I like that. That's cool. That is disconcerting. All right, cool. On a technical level, I think the sections, the 3 sections that you have there, are all very loopable. Pieces. Each one could easily keep going around. I don't. Is that your question? As far as
right. Yes.
they're all chord They're all circular chord progressions. So certainly the looping would be fine as long as the technical side is handled. In other words, they're separated and there's enough tail that you can put it in the front or whatever, however you're going to make it a loopable file. So those are all fine. What I really like is the sounds themselves. I like your palette. It does kind of remind me maybe of some old, I don't know, whatever, Silent Hill-ish kind of thing. Just very disturbing, organic, yet hybrid textures, a little modern, a little old, a little rusty, gritty, dirty, dark, and I like that. Definitely very, very cool. The as far as the mix goes, I think that could use a little bit of help. in the area. That low 808 kick is a little bit overbearing compared to other things. It seems to feel a little bit more muddy, and so that means we have a lot of action in the low end and the lower mids, and not so much to balance it off on the higher side. But again, I think that's just a mix and a balancing issue. Not even necessarily too much of an EQ issue. It could be just levels of certain instruments in relation to each other. My least favorite part about it, I think, are some of the actual, let's say, that second progression. There was nothing really memorable about it or hooky about it. I think the notes themselves, maybe I would spend a little bit more time trying to come up with the music itself being more hooky. If you were to step away from that, so I take it you're a piano player, obviously. If you were to maybe let's just say for fun, put on the piano only and just work out what you're doing there. Make it something that sounds good and catchy there, and then go back into your track. Sometimes we get distracted by our production, our toys, the sound, the sonics, and we lose scope of the story. It's like, ever see a movie with amazing special effects and the story sucked? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. You want to avoid that when it comes to music. So the good way to avoid that in music is, well, the story is the notes themselves, like the piano or whatever sound you like to use. And then the production is the special effects. So sometimes when you just simplify it down, it lets you focus on the strength of the story, or in this case, the notes themselves. That's my feedback on it, for what it's worth. Okay?
No, I certainly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good. But really good palette. I love it. Very, very interesting. All right, cool. Let's see. Before we go into the next submission, does anyone have any other thoughts, questions, profanities, conversation pieces, challenges? All right, then. Chris, you're up. So talk to me.
Hey, Tom. So this is a piece that I had almost forgotten about, and it just popped in my head again recently. So I thought,
Good.
okay, I'm going to dig this one out. And basically, in 2014, after my mother passed, I kept getting this melody that kept popping into my head. And generally, with me, if that melody comes back in my head more than 3 times, I've got to do something with it, because normally I'll get an idea and it's gone. If I didn't put it down, it's just gone forever.
Right.
This one kept coming back.
Right.
But I kept hearing it as a vocal arrangement, like I was saying earlier at the start of this, that I heard like a Ladysmith Black Mambazo type vocal ensemble.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it to a colleague of mine, and he pointed me in the library to a library that kind of sounded similar. It is a library, so you can hear it's a VST. It's nowhere near what I wanted it to be. You hear something a certain way, and vocal libraries are very much what you're given.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to make the best out of it. Not massively happy with it. It's just a demo. It's literally not a polished piece at all. But yeah, that was my issue that I brought up earlier. It's that I would love to be able to finish this track.
Okay.
But I don't have access to the kind of sounds I would love to be able to use.
Okay. So your feedback is maybe give you some ideas on how you might get to the finish line?
Yeah, either that or whether I need to change the arrangement entirely because I can't, because I can't hire a vocal ensemble or something. I don't know.
Oh, I see.
I'm just
Maybe another way
interested.
to approach it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a listen and see what we got. Oh, right. Okay. So before I continue, does it? So you're going for like an African kind of choir? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I guess there's probably some sort of Paul Simon's Graceland influence in this.
Okay, is there any more? Yeah. See if the choir comes back.
Yeah, it's a song arrangement. There's middle eights.
Okay. Yeah. I think there's a library that could help you out. Let's see.
You want to write a song together, Tom?
Check out Rodope. By who makes it? The Ethnic Bulgarian Choir.
All right, I'm going to look that one up. Thank you. What's it called?
Rodope. RHODOPE.
All right, thank you.
When Christopher Tin did his track that won a Grammy, that he wrote for one of the Civilization games, Baba Yetu, he was in a unique position. I might not have all the facts exactly correct, but he was through, I believe, the school that he studied in or what have you. He was either part of or connected with a vocal group through the school. And that was the track where it goes da 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 ba da ba ba da ba ba da 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 ba da ba ba da ba da. Baba Yetu, check it out on Spotify or check it out. Baba Yetu, one of the it's amazing track that I remember when he did that. And yeah, and he was, I guess, in the right place at the right time. He knew the right people, and it was just a student choir thing. It worked out really well.
And that's what Rodope is it?
No, Rodope is not. Rodope is different. It's a Bulgarian choir. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah, different. That I think that was more of an African kind of choir, like Lion King stuff. Whereas this is Bulgarian. This sounds more like Avatar, in my opinion. So anyway, cool, great. Well, thank you for sharing that, Chris. Yeah, I think the track is great. It's a feel good track. I think that would be a wonderful track for you to finish off, polish off, make it concise, make it have a set structure. Don't have it just keep meandering, and get it into a library situation, because that's a really good feel good thing. It has because of the vocals, it can have a very worldwide appeal. Very universal sounding.
But obviously replace the library that I currently use, because it sounds obviously like a...
Yeah, that's not going to work. That library's not going to work at all. No. So, anyway, good job. Like it. Really love your work, man.
Thank you.
Sweet. All right. Cool beans. Any follow-up questions? Thoughts, concerns, profanities? No? Okay. Let's move on to the next. Now, wait. We have a submission from Jean-Eric.
He's in the chat on YouTube. He can't be here on Zoom today.
Okay. Jean, are you out there? You'll have to... Well, there's like a 30-second latency. Okay. But he is watching on YouTube? Okay. Well, here we go. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Let me just get this over here. Close this up. There we go. Okay. So I can't ask what... Oh, yep. He's there. I'm going to have a big latency here. All right. So I can't really... Well, I will ask you. Type what you want me to focus on, what this is. There's just a quick little thing so I can give you the right feedback. So as I'm listening, tell me what kind of feedback you'd like on it. All right? In the meantime, I'll start to play it. I like it so far. I'm just interested to see where it goes. I like those two notes. The bass and the... That's a sixth or something like that. Ah. It's good lobby music. A piece that I composed with an adventure spy game in mind. The player goes through a level in a sneaky mode. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling like a little Splinter Cell. Why am I using my announcer voice? I don't know. See, and you do have, as simple as it is, we have a ding, 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 right? I'd like you to be a little more ambitious with your melody. But you have a very nice, polished. Yeah. Three blind mice. Yeah, I mean, everything about that is really, really, really cool. I would encourage you to go beyond the Three Blind Mice melody. All right, as you know, it's kind of like, wait a minute, you go through all this work, it sounds so professional, and you could do better than that as far as the notes. Or, you could start with Three Blind Mice, but then you want to kind of go somewhere else with it as well. There's got to be something else. I mean, we don't want to hang our entire foundation based on those three notes, right? Because you have all these cool sounds, and you clearly know what you're doing. You have nice production, you have nice balance and mix, mood, atmosphere, imaging. All of that checks all the boxes off. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be in a competitive professional field, there's got to be a theme there. There's got to be something that is a little unique and memorable that hasn't been done a million times, or instantly recognizable as something so simplistic. So no problem starting with, come on. Hans Zimmer took two notes for Batman Begins. Dun, 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 bam. Come on, right? But he worked it. He worked it. In some way, it became very, very memorable. So I think you could work on that aspect of it, but everything else, dude, sounds like ready to go. Nice job. Cool. And yeah, excellent. Excellent. Let me see. Cool. Any more last-minute submissions here? Let's see. No? Good. All right. So we can finish up our little time here with any other kind of... makes a lot of sense. All right, good. Cool. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Good stuff, man. All right, excellent. So any other thoughts or questions, concerns, problems, challenges? We're all dealing with some kinds of challenges in this whole thing. You can see what some of my challenges are. Some of my challenges are still trying to be more efficient with how I organize or how I can find what I'm looking for or remember what I have. You know, one of the things that really bugs me is that there's no single way you can kind of just, you know, I'm not talking as a sound designer, by the way, because sound designers will be like, yeah, there's this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you know, all the different, you know, virtual instruments, all the different plugins that are, you know, instruments that you play. You know, they all have their own browsers, some of them, you know. And there's no single browser to rule them all. Well, some might say, well, if you're using Logic or you're using Cubase, you can save them as channel strips. Yeah, but you know that's still a pain in the buttocks. And it's not very user-friendly and quick and easy, in my opinion. Now, if anyone has any other thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it. But I think my challenge is it's much quicker to, you know, like I love certain browsers like Omnisphere. I always loved that. I love, you know, Contact is pretty good. It's not great. I still find, like, when I'm looking for certain keywords, it's not as customizable, where sometimes I'm looking for accordion, and then it just goes crazy, you know. It's so, but then I use the Quick Load. I used to use Quick Load as just another browser for everything, and I realized that defeats the whole point of it, and it slows it down quite a bit. So I use Quick Load and Contact for my favorites, you know, or to remind me of a library, like the thing that I found in Chris's thing, Rodope. You know, I had just one instance of it in my favorites under voices, because that's one of my favorite go-to things that falls under the voice category. I've always had this challenge. I remember when I was back in the 1990, 91, when I was on tour with Bobby Brown and stuff, I had my Ensoniq EPS and then the ASR 10, you know, and once you started getting past floppy disks, which I also had organized, it's like I thought it was crazy having 100 floppy disks, which is basically just 100 megs now, which is smaller than some photos. You know, I had to organize them, like all the loops here, or the beats of the drums and the this and the basses and the synths, you know, whatever. And then then when I got the SciQuest Jazz library, I had 1 gigabyte. Oh my God, you know, and I had to make directories and folders. You know, so it's always this challenge of navigating through, and you know, when you set limitations, and maybe you don't have to go through everything you own. Maybe you just need to pick and choose. I'm going to stick with this today. You know, I know some producers and songwriters do that. They don't waste their you know, half of their time just finding sounds. They just go with what they know. So, but that's my challenge. It's like how to be more efficient and find things. Any other challenges out there? Questions, concerns? Let me look on YouTube. Do I see anything? All right. Well, cool. So now might be a good time to mention that I don't know if who here owns what, but we are running a 20% off winter sale on all of the Masterclass stuff that's currently there, which is Game Music Essentials, Deathloop, and the bundle. And if you haven't bought something that you're interested in, we are now, we just figured out how to put in a split up the payment method. So if you just kind of want to, you know, if you want to break up the payment in multiple chunks without any increase in the cost or interest free, you can do that now. So that is available to those of you. So if you know anyone, you're interested yourself, or you have any colleagues or friends, please feel free to share the good news, and there will be more stuff to come. Indeed. Chris, do you have any points that you want to mention or share, or?
It might be worth mentioning what the code is.
Ah, yes. Thank you. You see this? I knew I asked the right person. So, yes, the codes are for the 3 courses. They all end in the same thing, which is -winter 22. Okay? So there's 3 codes. They all end in -winter 22. The first code starts with GME, which is Game Music Essentials, -winter 22. Then there's DL for Deathloop, -winter. And then BDL, which is the bundle of those 2 courses together. Again, -winter 22. So that's going on right now until February 1st. 20% off to console us in these cold, wintry days. For those of us who are not in Miami, Adrian, or Southern California. I just came back from Southern California. Why aren't I living there? That's the question I'd like to know. That's my other challenge. How do I transport there anytime I'd like? Man. All right, so unless there are any other questions or things you want to talk about, we can wrap it up for this time before our next one, which is coming up a month from today, which is going to be February 16th, Wednesday, February 16th. If you like what you're seeing and you're watching this from YouTube and you like, well, how do I become a part of that? Well, if you are a student and you purchase any of the classes that are out there right now, you will become part of this community, the Tom Salta Masterclass series community, and you can join us here live for some in-person Q&A. And there you have it. So anyway, thank you everyone once again for participating. It will be right? Am I right about that, Chris? February 16th, right? I think we are.
So. Let me just check.
That's 4 weeks from today. 4 Wednesdays. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's correct. Excellent. All right, everyone. So for the time being, I say stay healthy, stay well, and stay creative. And I'll see y'all next time. All right. Bye-bye.